Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. It's the end of the week, and it's been a very busy week here in the feedback loop. But kind of a slow Friday, a little slow burn here on the Friday. I've got Katie. Good to see you, Katie. Glad that you have jumped back into the fray. See Kara this morning. I totally, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, so it's not surprising to me that days can just like evaporate rapidly. I'm hearing stories of school cancellations and conference cancellations and all these things just shifting around. So I totally get where like days can just like poof go into nothingness. I had one of those earlier this week. I have a conference that I was throwing or organizing a election workshop for. This would have been in April, and the workshop, conference just went away. So poof, no conference, no workshop, and you have to contact all the people and kind of get all that sorted out. Now we're looking at having it with a smaller group of people in a different state. It's like, these things are it's very interesting how fast things shift around. And then my poor friends that are in the organization space for throwing, these large 2,000 and 3,000 people conferences, they are really up against it right now because, nobody wants to travel anywhere. And I was thinking about it. I had it on my calendar for. It would have been in late January, early February. There was a conference, IXDA, Interaction Design Association. Love IXDA. Their conference was in Milan, Italy. So I could have, like, a year ago, teleported myself into the middle of the hot zone, and I'm just, I'm absolutely flabbergasted and thankful that I haven't heard more in the UX community about the fact that they had a conference basically a week before the outbreak happened. So it looks like the industry as a whole kind of avoided it, but the UX industry, all of your favorite people, they could have been right in the middle of it. They missed it by like 1 week. So all that said, I also want to circle back to Tejal, because she's working on her portfolio, and she's done something that I think a lot of us do, where we write inside of our text editors, or we write inside of Figma, and the real issue that happens there is that's not really great for grammar and copy. But I did find a new tool that I want to tip you off to. It's maybe not even a new tool, but I wanted to tip you off to a way to do like a last pass on your work. So, Katie, I'm going to come right back to your priority guides. I want to first focus here on this web page spell checker, and this has been around for a few years. It's got 10,000 users. And last updated recently, or like this week. So it's definitely something that allows you an opportunity to check out your site. Although in digging in a little further, it looks like there is a very highly rated productivity tool, languagetool.org. for grammar and spell checker online. I know that Grammarly works really well for sites when you are typing in, okay? And I think that's really I think that making sure that you're not posting anything is clearly great. But I'm wondering about this site, because what what I'm really wanting to do is I'm wanting to be able to come into Tegel's site and see if there are any issues in the text that's already here. And the reason why I point that out is because often we type, or we make adjustments directly in the text in our text editor. So like we're working on our portfolio, and we have a thought, and we go, oh, this would sound so much better if I wrote it this way. And we don't stop to go back to our Grammarly or back to our wherever we've written our original text. We make our edit right in the text editor. And that's a problem because we don't have great editing tools in our text editor. And one of the things that you can do is with this spell checker tool. So this is web page spell check. Right now it's enabled. I'm going to turn it off and then turn it back on so that it will render the spelling errors as we go down. You'll notice that it changes your cursor. So these links won't work anymore because they're now it's just like a text cursor. But as we go down, what we're going to notice is there will be highlights for things that it's wondering if they are misspelled. And one of the things that it's misspelled is recognized. I am humbled to be recognized by my peers and jury for these. So on Tegel, on your about page, we need to fix that. That should have been caught in a spell check if you were using like Grammarly, but I'm guessing that you were writing this in the text editor, or you were writing it in Figma, and you didn't put it through a spell check before, or maybe you rewrote it. Whatever the case is, I know that a lot of us do this thing where we will write in the text editor. There should be a way to do a last pass to make sure that you haven't injected any poor grammar or misspellings into your site. So achievements is one. I do this, by the way. This appears like it's just busted. Maybe it's got the wrong class on it, and it's you meant to do right and you did left. Either way, and as you see it also will notice names. We need some spacing help here as well. But I wanted to the trouble here that you'll have to do is you'll have to come back and deactivate it. So I'll say spell check off, and that way I get my cursor back. So I'm going to go do the same thing on the other pages that Tegel has. So this is Bergen, and I'll turn the spell check on. Or did I turn it off? No, I need to turn it on. Okay, so it's on, and you can see it's mostly highlighting like names and Bergen and things like that. But the goal here is to make sure that we do not have any misspelled words. And it will, like, I think it's looking at that going, is that off, or is that off or of? It can't tell. So it's a very simple spell check. It's tripping over things like mood board, which I think is good. I definitely don't want it to miss those, but those are kind of industry specific. So I'm fine with it being one word. We're continuing to go through. Tattoo, pick that up. So you need a double T there. And there was one other thing I noticed when I was reading through, but I think it was on the other project, Tegel. So I'll point that out in just a second. Okay, so let's hop over to the other case study, and this is one of the problems that I have with case study 1 and case study 2. I can't remember which case study I'm on right now, and I've been looking at this project for weeks. So I think I'm on case study 1 right now. Am I? I am. Okay, so I need to be on case day 2. My whole point is and you literally have to disable it to get your ability to okay, come on. Don't make me look like a butt. So spell check off. Wow. It will trap you. So here I'd refresh and idea board loads in. This is the one thing that I noticed last night when I was reading through is I'll turn the spell checker on just so we can find all the issues. But here we have idea board 2 words. I do think you need a space here. And then you have idea board 1 word, and you have idea board 2 words. So we need to make sure we just need consistency here. You've got idea board 2 words, idea board 1 word. It just needs to be consistent as we go through. Also for the problem, I think this first sentence needs some work, because when you talk about the problem, you need to kind of set people up. They're not really ready to jump into it. When I'm reading this, it says you have an image for future reference. It's like, oh, I do? What do you mean? I think simply using a phrase like, imagine that you have an image for future reference. How do you say that? So you have to set them up. Let's go on a journey. Let's put ourselves in the people's shoes. Not you have an image for future reference. It's like it's kind of like if you ran out and said to a stranger, "What do you want for dinner?" It's like, what? What do you mean? I'm not even hungry. They're not in the frame of mind to go with you on the journey yet. So just imagine that you find an image for future reference, or imagine that I think imagine is a really good word here because it allows you to say, hey, I just want you to go with a journey. I would just want you to go to a place and think about this for a second with me, okay? So we're gonna keep going through. I did think that it was good that you kind of outlined what the sphere of other products are. I wasn't sure if you needed the number here again because it's already here. Although I think that if I look at this in mobile, I think that number is still there. Yeah. So I would honestly consider getting rid of this number because it's just replicating it. So either that or lose the dot. It's up to you. I kind of like the way you've done the presentation with the dot, so I'd keep it. Let's see here. And what I meant by I would keep the dot. I would lose the number in the text because, again, you're replicating it. And I want to do some further reading, although I thought I recognized a piece of this was busted as well earlier, and here it is. It's right here. So again, it's like class left, class right. It's one of those situations. We could even go in and look at it really fast and just see if that's the problem. Yeah, right notepad. I think what you needed was left notepad, maybe. Yeah, it's just right, left. So it's one. These things happen, and especially when you're reordering things. But I'm not seeing. I am curious if it. Nah, I disabled it. Okay, that's why I wasn't seeing any underlining. I was like, this is really weird. This is going far too well. Although Bergen had so many underlines by comparison because all the names that were involved. still would think that there's got to be more in here. Come on, is this? This needs to be edited as well. I think you just need to bring it down in size. I'm not. I'm at 100% and it's kicking over, so that's a bit of an issue. And yeah, it actually is functioning because Behance is highlighted and your name is highlighted. So it's crawling through this looking for misspellings but not finding any, which is great. And we know that it's going to find some because the misspelling on the about page and the misspelling of tattoo on the case on the Bergen page highlighted those for me. So that's a good thing. You know, again, I would want to adjust some of these visual things. I'd want to better set somebody up to consume the problem at the start. Just kind of like so they know that they're going on a journey. I would also here's one. POV. I would uppercase POV because it's an acronym. It's P, a point of view. So P uppercase POV. No folder uploads. Maybe. No folder uploads. Okay. So you can see now it's functioning. I simply did not have it turned on. And that's one of the problems is like you're toggling through this. So I do want to look for more tools more Chrome plugins that might be a little stronger than this one. But it definitely is helpful because these are things that your eyes, when you're reading through this, your eyes have a tendency to hop over words that are misspelled. Like, and I really don't know why we do this. I think it's it's part of that. It's part of Gestalt, and our eyes know what the word is supposed to be, so it just automatically adjusts the small things, so that we miss it. The other problem is when you spend too much time looking at the same text, you just gloss over that stuff. That's why fresh eyes are so important. Sometimes you can't get fresh eyes. That's why I like a plugin. But that said, we also did this. I've got to turn it back off. Spell check off. Did I get my cursor back? I do. Let's go to your home page. Let's do the same thing because there is quite a bit of content. The spell check is now back on. At least it says it is. And I will know that it's back on if it has highlighted your name, which it has. So, and that's one of the great things about your name is that it freaks out the spell check, so I can tell right away whether spell check is actually working. Okay. Yeah, and does it right there. Awesome. Okay, so we found a few things. We've also looked at a new tool, or a type of tool. I still would advise that you edit inside of a text, inside of something like Grammarly. You write primarily there. But I also understand your tendency. You know, and that's not just your tendency, it's mine too. It's I'm in the copy that's in the site and I'm like, "Oh, I want to change this thing." Great. Now I have one or two choices. I can take everything out, whoop, and go over to Grammarly and then port it back in. And I have to do this with MailChimp too. So when I send out the emails, I have to like, oh God, I gotta take this. I've written it in MailChimp, and now I gotta take it to Grammarly. Same thing. For you though, and you would think MailChimp would have more robust tools. Now that I think about it. But know that there are tools out there like this one. I am going to do some more research on. I'm going to really look into all of that. Is that Grammarly? It looks like Grammarly. No, it's Ginger. I hate it that these logos are so similar. Although I gotta tell you that I would think that there would be a Grammarly plugin that would work for this. But I'm gonna take a closer look at this language tool. The reason I do this is, when I see 400,000 users, when I see 1,900 5-star reviews, I go, that might be quality. And if that's quality, I want to use something that is quality over the 3-star thing. A lot of times it comes down to cost, though. Like, oh yeah, this is quality. It's also $100 a year or something. I already pay $100 a year for Grammarly, so like, again, when you pay for the tool, use the tool. All right, I'm gonna move on. But Tedgel, overall, just a few things. Okay, we're really tightening the bolts up here. But I still want to like read. I've read like Idea Board. I want to go through and read Bergen again. It's because it's been a couple of months since I've really like dug into Bergen. But fix those couple of typos, fix those couple of class issues, and consider adding a little bit of intro to the problem statement on Idea Board. And let's move forward, okay? All right, so let's go over to Katie. Katie's been busting her tail on this, and I love you people know me. You know me. You know I love a good priority guide. I do, and you know why I love it. And you could talk to Kara or to Eve or to Luigi. James has not gotten to this point yet. So James, I know you're still working through. But when you write priority guides, you are breaking down the content so that you can focus on writing before you focus on designing. And going through 3 iterations allows you to migrate this from, there's going to be a logo up here, to, it's going to be a logo, and then I'm going to have the menu profile, and then like I'm going to have a tagline, and now I need to think about the tagline, and there's a CTA button, and what is the CTA? Oh, view the menu. Why choose us? I need to come up with 3 reasons. I'm not going to worry about the reasons yet, but I'm going to come up with 3. And you notice along the way that it's nearly impossible to not think some about the design. It's like, okay, why choose us? Well, I don't know what my reasons are, but I think I want an image with them. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Save time, be healthy, convenient. And at this stage, I don't really care about misspellings. Okay, I want to be completely clear. Yes, I can see that convenience misspelled, but the point is, I'm not really showing this to a client. If I was showing it to a client, go through and clean all that stuff up. But I'm not. This is like for my internal use. This is a document I'm creating. It's an artifact, so I can get my head wrapped around what I'm actually trying to pull off. So I don't clench up. I was clenching up on Tedgel's things because that's her portfolio. She's putting that out. That's out in the wild. This one isn't out in the wild. So these save time, be healthy, convenient. The thing you need to start thinking about there is, okay, if I've got what does convenient look like as an icon or as an image? Like, what is that? Because you're beginning to say, I'm going to show this thing, and when you're showing things, there are things that are concrete. Time, it's a watch. Healthy, be healthy. It could be a runner. It could be vegetables. It could be a lot of things. Convenient is a clock. Convenient is one of these ideas. Convenience is an idea. It's not a thing. So you have to really think about, okay, is saving time and convenient the same thing? because time is a clock. I can see time. I can, we have representations of time. Convenient is a perspective. It's hard to like grapple with. So something to consider there as you move forward. As far as the 3 reasons, there could be other reasons. Save time, be healthy, choice, options, variety. Um, you know, trying to think of another one. I can't just right off the top of my head. But this is, again, why we do the priority guide, so we can slice up this work and so that we can focus on the items that we're talking about before we get into the design. How it works. Choose meals you love from our wide variety of menu options. Oddly enough, I talked about variety just a minute ago, so that's like step 1. Step 2, simply choose to pick up your meals or have them delivered. Step 3, enjoy healthy meal options anywhere. So you got a store locator and then a footer. Okay, so now we come over here, and I think the the interesting thing here is I can view the menu. You're giving me why I should choose them, how it works. We haven't talked about cost. We haven't talked about like getting started. So I'm not. The store locator is interesting from a. If I'm trying, you have to think about what's the main driver here. Am I trying to get them to a store, or am I trying to get them to order from me? And I don't necessarily like a store locator would be very very logical for a grocery store that's trying to get you into the store. I see this as more of I'm trying to get you to like place an order with me, and that for that reason, I do think the store locator is important. I don't necessarily know if it's here though. So just something that I wanted to point out. You may find in your user testing that that's exactly what they want. So again, not poo-pooing it, just saying like I haven't seen price. I haven't seen any sort of push to get me to start my order. So those things. Checkout iteration 1. So we've got and right now you're just you're kind of like saying, okay, you're putting this order summary together. So I'm going to sign in, review, address, checkout. So there's like a progress bar, which is fun because you're already following some of the things that we're talking about in form design. This is a big form. So it's sign in, review, address, checkout. I've got my order summary. It's okay. So I'm already down. So what I'm guessing here is in the checkout, I'm like in phase 4. So I've already entered my address. I've already entered my credit card. So I think at least I think that's where I'm at. No, okay. It says shipping and handling calculated in the next step. So I'm guessing that I'm moving to I'm in review, and then I'm moving to address, and then I'm moving to like final checkout. Review, order, place order. Okay. So one thing I might indicate here is like this might be checkout, but this is checkout review or checkout address. This is not clearly all 4. It says place order. It says review, order, place order. Yeah, I think I'm here. and you talk about calculating in the next step. I think I am here. Okay. So this is checkout part 2. I'm not sure sign in is really a thing. Maybe it is. Because you have login here, and then I can see my profile. One thing to think about here is, well, I wouldn't actually. I'm not going to mention that because this is a mobile view. You probably will collapse down into some sort of hamburger or whatever. And we'll talk about where that should live at. Is that in the top? Is it in the bottom? Where does this navigation live? Spring animation from the bottom is probably something we're gonna want to talk about further. So menu, so logo name, navigation cart, food categories, search bar, filter options, the options. So categories, I can see the tabs, filters, search. This all comes down to, I'm glad that you're kind of saying, okay, here's the categories, here are the different ways that you can filter, here's search. I like that. I do think the design of, the execution of this is going to be pretty interesting, because there's a lot of things like if I select sandwich and I want to filter by vegetarian, that makes sense. So that says I want sandwiches, and then I want only vegetarians, and then I go down. I'm not sure the search bar lives there, and if I do search, it seems like that's something that kind of if I said steak, steak should pull up, and if in the search bar, if I said steak, I want steak, that should pull up steak sandwiches, steak salads, steaks, those little steak medallions if they're side options. That should supersede pretty much all of this. And then if I filtered my search reviews for steak with vegetarian, that should wipe it all out, because I don't have any vegetarian steak options, dude. But you know that already. But it's very interesting to me. I like all of this. These are always fun design exercises because they force us to really think about the filtering mechanisms. I'll give you an example. One of the first startups I did some consulting work for, they were dealing in auto parts, okay, and they had this filtering mechanism that you pick the year, and then you pick the manufacturer, and then you pick the model. And by picking the year first, it should have sorted out all manufacturers that weren't producing in that year. The manufacturing list was pretty much anybody who'd ever made a car, okay? And the example I knew about right away was the Pontiac. Pontiac is a car that probably has been made in the United States in at least 10 years. But I could pick a 2015 Pontiac Fiero, and a Fiero was this little sports car that was made in the mid 80s. I could literally say I wanted parts for a 2015 Pontiac Fiero. Well, that's not going to produce any results, but it shouldn't even be something that I could select. And that's what you want to think about when you're looking at these sorts of combinations is, are these in the right order to produce information that I should be able to select? Luckily, I think that you have you're not up against an issue like the filtering issue involving the cars, because I'm not having to sort this by time. But you might have different menus available. Is this an evening delivery, morning delivery, sort of thing? Like kitchens, the very common to restaurants are I don't have pancakes in the middle of the afternoon, or I don't have hamburgers in the morning. So something to think about there if time comes into play. Let's continue over. Overall, though, I think you've got the right parts. I really think these are interesting. And maybe no, I'm not. It's not a maybe. I am a nerd. Okay, I'm a nerd for design problems. That's why I do this. Uh, so let's go. Profile iteration 1, profile iteration 2, profile iteration 3, and so you've got your picture and you've got like a button for update address, and here's the closest store, and credit card on file, add, remove, order history. Order history is really interesting because I'm really interested not only in seeing when I ordered, but I need some sort of idea of what I ordered. This enters in, there's two ways that you can tackle this. Looking, kind of projecting forward, information that would go there might be like the first item, like ... or in the checkout phase over here, if I say place order, in the confirmation screen, there might be a add to favorites, and if you add it to favorites, then you can name the order like lunch for office, or family meals for the week, like whatever that is, and that would give you the data needed to make sense of this order history. But that's something that's a curiosity that only jumps into the discussion once you begin to design the profile where that information would show up. This is meal description down here. So what I was just talking about with confirmation, there isn't a confirmation screen right now. And we do talk about confirmations and permissions in the feedback portion. That's part of the interface design. I'm actually continuing to write new exercises tackling these issues, because they are considerations that you're going to want to dive into before very long. But let's hop over here into meal description, and you've got logo, name, cart, navigation cart. So that your first cut was kind of looking at the broad contours of it. Second cut here gets you into, okay, here's the image, here's what it is and how much it costs. Be careful on names. Names can be pretty long. So when you put information here, you're probably not going to have a meal that's more than 4 digits, particularly for like some sort of delivery service, but you might have a longer name. So this is something where I might consider, instead of, I might keep the name wide and maybe even allow it for it to be 2 lines, and I might find a different place for the dollar amount, simply because we don't want a situation where you've got the dollars over here and you just continually run out of space on the name of the item. So something to consider. And again, I see some misspelling, like ingredients, that, as long as this isn't going to a client. Although I would say that at some point you're going to link to it. So, in your case study, you'll say, view my priority guides. It might be worth cleaning that sort of stuff up, so when a future employer or potential employer comes through looking at your work, they're not seeing stuff like that. It's very, very minor, though. I'm not going to hammer you on it, because I know this is just like an internal doc, but for future reference, it might be nice to clean that up, so that if somebody comes behind you and looks at your priority guides, they're not like, wow, there's these misspellings. My big thing is you're doing the iterations. Okay, so long as you're going through the process, we can always clean up misspellings. Um, so ingredients. Oh, this is okay. Description. Sorry, description, ingredients, nutrition menu. I'm guessing this is like the calories and whatnot. It seems like this would be larger, um, like a chart of some sort. This meal is dairy free. Quantity, add to cart, footer. Do you need a footer on? You know, first of all, I don't think you need a footer on all pages. You don't have one over here on your profile. You don't. You do have one here on the menu. I don't. I don't think you need a footer here. Um, like review order. Don't need a footer. Um, homepage. Sure. Why not? Why not have a footer? But once you're into the meals and whatnot, I don't necessarily know if you need that. So overall, moving in the right direction. I would encourage you to continue pushing forward because, like one thing that we haven't seen is the other parts of the checkout process. Like this is one screen of at least 3. And I would also include a confirmation in there. And I think you're getting very close to a point where I could say, oh yeah, I click on this and it takes me, I click on viewer menu, and viewer menu takes me to this menu page, and I click on chicken salad sandwich, and that takes me to this meal description, and I click add to cart, and the cart takes me to the checkout, or does it take me to a cart where I have my cart, and then I go, let's check out. Okay, considerations to think about. But overall, I think you're doing very strong work. I think you're definitely moving in the right direction, and I would just advise that you keep moving forward. This is definitely, and it's also frankly good. It's good just to see progress, Katie. And as I was saying with Kara, Kara chimed in the daily stand up just a little bit ago. As I was saying with Kara, these disruptions that are happening in our lives, where oh, I thought I was going to a conference and now I'm not, or oh, I've got family in town, surprise, or wow, I've got surprise dental work. As I had that happen to me this week as well. That's going to throw your regular flow into kind of a tailspin, to be completely honest with you. It's unlikely that you're going to move forward with the same velocity. What is important is that at the first moment that you kind of catch a breather from that disruption, you say, okay, I'm going to, by the end of the day, I'm going to read this chapter, or I'm going to submit something to the feedback loop. And this is something I would like to emphasize, because I was telling Rebecca this, I tell Tedrell this all the time. If you wait it till the very end to submit your portfolio to me, or to submit your case study to me, you'd be waiting a really long time. Feedback loop is meant to be iterative. And I'm not talking just to Katie, I'm talking to all of you. Feedback loop is meant to be iterative in that as you're working through something, it's fine to throw something in that is half finished and say, I have a question about X. Okay? This is unlike college courses where basically you see your instructor once or maybe twice a week, and you really don't have time in class to ask questions, to be completely honest. I've done the whole college thing before. I've done college in-person instruction, and maybe there's office hours for 1 hour a week where you can, and there's people lined up down the hall, and the doors closed. Like, we have this every day. Every day. And I try to hit it at as close to 9 a.m. as I can. There's been some disruptions this week. But take advantage of the fact that we have this hour set up to review things like this. because Katie's not finished priority guides, but she brought it in to say, hey, am I making progress? Tejal's not finished with her portfolio, but we've been looking at it and working through it because she's making iterative progress. Same thing with Rebecca. Rebecca had an interview. I gave her some feedback. She made some adjustments. She went to the interview, and now she's making more adjustments, prepping for the next one. Okay? So for all of you, I encourage you, I implore you, take advantage of the feedback loop. It's the easiest, quickest way to continue to catapult forward. And one of the things that I know is a problem for a lot of people is like, Chris, I want us to have our session, but I just don't have, I've got a really busy week. I need that hour. I need that time to work on other things. That's fine. I get it. Feedback loop means that you can throw something over the wall and ask a question without having to meet with me for an hour. Okay? And that is the quickest way. I've always said I thought feedback loop was way more valuable than the one-on-one sessions because it allows us to cycle through the work and continue to get feedback on the work without waiting a week to talk about it. Okay? So with that, I have a lot of writing to do, and I'm so absolutely delighted to have the time to do the writing. So I'm going to go do that. You folks have a great weekend. I will be watching your submissions come in, and if anybody throws anything over the wall, I will be sure to reply to it. But otherwise, I'm Chris Courtney. This has been the Feedback Loop for New Pragmatic, and I will see you again Monday. Bye-bye.